Boom! What's up, familia? Dayspring here with a reaction to the X-Men anime intro from the 90s. So for those of you who don't know, when X-Men the animated series aired in Japan, they had two anime-style intros. And those would be carried over to the US when it was in syndication. But I posted the video recently for the second opening with Planet X-Men over on our Instagram page. And there was so much great hype and reaction to it that I thought, you know what, I'm learning OBS. I kind of want to learn how to do a reaction video. So this video is 30 plus years in the making, but there were so many DMs coming in being like, oh, was this? Was this a reference to that? And I was like, you know what? These anime intros are so meaty. They have so many Easter eggs in there and callbacks to the comics, stuff that even happened in the series. So I thought, you know what? Let's dive into it. Let's do a reaction video. Let's test my OBS skills. Not very good, as you can see how horribly aligned everything is. But, you know, this is the first of many reaction videos I want to do. I really want to applaud the team that put together this intro, whoever the director was for this intro, because much like Larry Houston, who was, again, the X-Men animated series director, there's a lot of nuggets here. And it's someone who's a real fan of the comic books can only pull off. Okay, I'm setting up the shot. So, Gaming T, they put this on their channel. It's a remastered HD version, so please go check them out. All the credit goes to them for this. We're going to watch it, and then I'm going to break it down for us. Oh, it's so cool! Action anime intro shot. Oh. So excited. Every time I see this is my favorite scene. Right here. Wolverine! That is my god plan. It looks so incredible. Something I don't like about this scene. Wow. Oh god, that gets my blood boiling every single time. Every single time I see this opening. So this is the second one. The other one aired, much earlier, so this is the second one. And we'll do Cry for the Moon. We'll break down Cry for the Moon later on. But we're doing this one because we posted it on the Instagram page. And I saw it and I was like, there's so many callbacks in this. So let's break it down. Let's get into it here. So obviously that's the red X-Men logo. It starts off with a shot of Cyclops and then enter Wolverine and Storm and then Jean and then Jubilee and then we have Gambit and Rogue right there. Okay, where's Beast? Where's Xavier? I wonder if they just couldn't fit Beast in the shot. I mean, it looks like he could have fit right there. And Xavier's on a hover chair, so he could be anywhere in the shot. But those two are noticeably absent. I wonder if the director too was like, "Fuck Beast, man! I fuck Beast." Just joking. This is the '90s, and obviously Beast has a shot here in the opening, but in '90s Beast is very well loved and respected. I mean, he was a good guy in the '90s. He was just a quirky scientist. But anyways, they're gonna do their anime intro shot right there, and it's like boom, right there, and the volcano explodes, and this is clearly the Savage Land. The Savage Land plays such a big role in the X-Men animated series for season 2, and the electricity lightning around the X-Men logo, that's obviously a homage to the American opening where we get the electricity on the X-Men logo. Oh my god, can you imagine being in the Savage Land? Can you imagine being in the Savage Land and volcanoes going off? The skies are all like red with fire and there's electricity everywhere. I would be shitting my pants. Oh, look how good. I love that logo so much. Oh, it just looks so good. This is the best part of the freaking opening. I mean, look at the Blackbird. It's a clear blue skies day in the 90s, and the Phalanx is attacking the Blackbird. And look how the Blackbird is moving. It kind of moves like a bird, right? Even like the cockpit area, like it's kind of like its head is going forward. It's not very realistic, but you know, I can always forgive things. Like, this is very much a stylized intro, and you know, there's the expression of substance over style, but I think if you do style really well, sometimes you can take style over substance, right? It's just like when you watch a movie and the writing may not be that great, but the acting is really great, or the acting really sucks, but the writing, the direction, and the score all work for you. So, you know, as long as not everything is falling apart, you know, you can forgive certain things. And in this case, with the Blackbird moving more like a bird, more like it's sentient, right? It's moving like it's actually sentient. I can forgive that, even though it's just supposed to be a plain old like Blackbird. But anyways, so there opens up the door and out comes Wolverine, Cyclops, Rogue, Storm Beast, and Gambit. I wonder who's flying. I mean, definitely not Jubilee. Jubilee can't be flying. Xavier usually stays at the mansion, so is Jean flying? I don't think we've ever seen Jean fly the X-Jet in the series. We've seen her fly it in X-Men 2 when Famke and Storm, I said Famke. When Jean and Storm go in search of Nightcrawler, we see Jean piloting the X-Jet. But, you know, and obviously in the comics she pilots space shuttles and everything all the time. But in the series, I don't think she has. If she has, please, guys, let me know if she was. But so I guess we can assume that Jean, our God Queen Jean, is in the cockpit flying the Blackbird, unless it's sentient, right? Unless that's what they were trying to accomplish with that intro, that it's sentient, because it was very fluid. And oh, look, they're gonna fight the Phalanx right there. Oh, I love Beast there. I know, I mean, Familia, if you know me, you know how much I dislike modern Beast, but I'm always gonna have a spot in my heart for quirky scientist Beast who hangs upside down with his beakers, trying to find a cure for the legacy virus while quoting Shakespeare. And I just love how blue he is, and look him going at the Phalanx. Oh gosh, it's so great. Okay, and here are the right. I call them the smiley robots because after Second Coming, but it's the right, and they're on a motorcycle and they're going after Jubilee. And look how badass Jubilee is. And does she have a Cindy Crawford bowl right there? What is that? Is that a Cindy Crawford bowl? Oh God, look how badass she looks. Oh God. Now look at how her powers are working, because that looks more like Boom Boom's powers to me. She does fireworks, right? But that's like exploding right there. That's definitely Boom Boom. So what I love about this section with Jubilee, it's like, look at one of the right make it through her explosion and starts shooting at her, and she falls on the floor. This is because she is the ingenue, right? She's the newest member on the team. This is why she's going to Xavier's school, because even though she's talented and gifted, she still has a lot to learn. So even though the right was attacking her, she throws her firework bombs, and she's able to get two, but one of them makes it through. And as we can see, there's Wolverine's boot. He's there to step up. And obviously, she is Wolverine's sidekick for the series. And Wolverine pops his claws and just, boom, slices right through his bike. And the rider falls off. I know there was an oversaturation of Wolverine in the 90s. And when I was a kid, I was like infuriated by it. I was like, why is Wolverine everywhere? I want to focus on some other characters. But my God, now that I've grown older and I've had time away from it, I mean, the design, the vibe of Wolverine is just so, in the 90s, so great. Ah, and there's our God Queen Jean Grey and Cyclops. Oh, obviously this is a moody anime shot, right? They're all being pensive. Welcome to the love triangle of the series. It's going to be Wolverine, Jean, and Cyclops. You know, it's funny, the way this is remastered, you can see the flaws in the character design. And that's really interesting to me because I never really noticed character models until I was watching Sailor Moon Crystal back in 2013, that first season, where some things looked a little off and wonky. And I was like, oh, it's because we have HD TVs now that we can notice these things. But I know when things are drawn from afar, they're not as obviously detailed if you have closer shots when it comes to animation. But I gotta tell you, this is such a beautiful shot. They're all in their feelings. God Queen, Jean's hair is billowing in the wind. I believe that's Genosha in the background. It has to be Genosha. That's definitely not the Manhattan skyline. So I would assume that is Genosha, since Genosha also plays a role in the series. But yeah, look at them. There's Wolverine right there. Boom. There's Jean. Cyclops again. His model's off. It looks like he's not wearing his boots. But hey, maybe he was just like, we're by the water. You know what I mean? We're all relaxing, having a good time. All right, let's continue here. Oh, it's such a great shot. This is truly a fantastic shot. I love it so much. Okay, the X-Men with the yellow and black, that is X-Men Unlimited's logo. Oh, I love it so much. There is Apocalypse. Apocalypse obviously plays a big role in the series, and he's versus Gambit. And funny enough, decades, well, I don't know about decades. Would it be decades? Maybe about like 12, 15 years later, Gambit, after the decimation, would become a horseman of the Apocalypse. And, you know, he'd have that relationship with Apocalypse. It is obviously way before its time, and, you know, it's just these two cool characters going at it. But still, I like seeing them together like that. And look at that, the Gambit here, look at him. So his colors are a bit more muted than what are in the actual series, right? His costume is a bit brighter, the way he's illustrated. This is very much in the vein of the Lee Weeks miniseries for Gambit that takes place in New Orleans. So, you know, there's darker shading on his coat and his overall costume. I love it so much, and like how his hair is a little bit more, you know, angled, and like it just looks really, really great. I love it so much. And there's Magneto. Needs no introduction. You know, Magneto is introduced later on in the series. Not later on in the series, but like later on in the first season, because the Leewalds really wanted to establish the government as the bad guy of season 1 with the Sentinels. And by the time you get to Magneto, maybe Magneto's perspective isn't wrong, right? He has a different ideology from Xavier, and maybe his approach isn't wrong, right? That they really wanted to flesh out Magneto. So in this scene, there's Xavier and Magneto going at it, and that's a homage to their opposing ideologies. But also because this was done a little later on, I wonder if this is a homage to Fatal Attractions as well. I don't know. Okay, and there's a Sentinel about to squish Bobby right there. There's very magical boy Bobby. He's very Twinkie in it, but you know, officially he only has one guest spot in the series, but he does appear in the background in some other episodes, especially when they flash back to the 05, and that's because of Larry Houston, because when he was directing the series and he would have background characters, he had them designed and did the designs of these characters that were already established in the Marvel Universe. So that's why we have so many background characters. And it was also a way to save on production costs, because he already had the designs for the character already in the drawer. I was about to say on his computer, but it was the 90s. So he already had the designs ready to go for these characters. Oh, Storm. Oh, God, a literal goddess. They're fighting the Sentinels, boom. There is Tusk versus Wolverine. And Tusk can create miniature versions of himself. So we can assume that's a miniature version of himself on Tusk's shoulder. And there's Wolverine right there. Cool. Oh, man, look at his eyes. They're like glowing blue. Oh, it's such hyper style. I love it so much. There's Rogue. That looks like, to me, Cameron Hodge. Colors are a bit off here, but I think that's Cameron Hodge. You can let me know in the comments if it's someone else, but I'm pretty sure that's Cameron Hodge. The Rogue is throwing. And then we get Gambit versus Spiral. Oh, gosh, that looks so good. All right, here's this shot here. And we have Gambit, we have Rogue, we have Storm, we have Cyclops, we have Wolverine, we have Jubilee, and we have Beast. Who's missing? Our god, Queen Jean Grey. And I wonder if the director of this opening was like, well, we had to put Beast in the shot because otherwise Beast has not appeared in any team shots. So who can go, let's get rid of Jean Grey. You're like, no, you can't get rid of Jean Grey. You can't. Funny enough, early on when they were designing and outlining the series, the Leewalds in their book mentioned that Jean was originally going to be like a tier C character, just a background character. So initially, from a production standpoint, Jean wasn't going to play the pivotal role that she did. Thank God she did. And I don't think this is in any way, shape, or form a homage to it, but it's interesting that they have these 7 characters here and they're missing Jean. So, interesting. I mean, I don't know if they would have had room for her. I mean, it could have just been, she could have come right here between Rogue and Gambit. Surprise! There's that new love triangle. It's actually Jean, Rogue, and Gambit. But they could have fit her in here. They could have, moved Gambit closer to Rogue and then put Jean on the corner there. Something like that. It makes sense to me that they would have Wolverine and Storm next to Cyclops, because those 3 are big flagships for the series. So I understand why Jean would be more off to the side. I'm not trying to be a crazy Jean stan with that, but I would have put her on this side with Rogue and Gambit. I think you could have squeezed her in there. And there's Cyclops. Oh, that's a very Joe Mad looking shot. Look at Cyclops. He looks so good. Letting go of his optic blast, and it's going towards Krakoa. That's Krakoa. Look at his eyes. Baby-eyed Krakoa, wide-eyed Krakoa, anime Krakoa. Looks so good. Cyclops, you cannot be blasting Krakoa. You have no idea what this island means for the future of mutant kind. At the time this was created, it was just a living mutant island that sucked the energy out of mutants. I mean, it still does in the comics. It is referenced. But, I want to be like, Cyclops, don't do it. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Boom! Oh, it explodes. And this explosion is very much like an atomic bomb going off, X-Men, Children of the Atom, right there, exploding in the middle of the ocean. I mean, the fluidity of how these scenes move is wonderful. There's the X logo. And boom, the entire team shot with everyone there. Beast, Gambit, Rogue, Cyclops, Jean, Xavier, Storm, Wolverine, and Jubilee. And they're in space, overlooking the Earth with the moon in the background. So, yeah, Familia, there we go. That is our reaction to... Oh, wait, I'm going to move us right here. Boom, we're going to make it a little bigger here. That is our reaction to the X-Men anime series, second anime intro. And aired in Japan again, that would eventually come to the US. Thank you for bearing with me with all this technical stuff. We're learning OBS. And again, there was just such a nice positive reaction to posting this video with Planet X-Men. I kind of wanted to break it down because there's a lot of nuggets in there. And again, much like the actual series with Larry Houston directing and putting in all of these little Easter eggs and callbacks to the comics, it's clear that the person who was directing and putting together this opening wanted to do all those callbacks as well. I mean, they were quite literally reading the comics, because I don't know how anyone who wasn't a fan of the comics at the time, when you didn't have Wikipedia or anything available, would know how to do something this masterful, right? So let us know your feels on this intro. Drop your comments below. We'll do Cry for the Moon. I promise we'll do Cry for the Moon. And that is a really fun intro too. I feel that one's a little bit more of a safe intro. This one is a little bit more, we're throwing it in just fan service after fan service. But anyways, Familia, let us know your thoughts below.